Hello everyone. This is going to be a pretty big, in-depth update video that you'll want to watch all the way through, so I apologize if it's lengthy, but trying to cram as much information in as I can. I have been collaborating with a couple friends and fellow watchmen on this one. We really do have a great team out here keeping up with all the data, and I'm super proud of them all. I'm also very proud of all of you listening and taking in all this information, and then spreading the word so that you too can help others. Amazing group of people. A huge thank you for being here. Thank you so much. So by now you know that we are in the front side alignment with the binary system. Each year we give notice way in advance, and each year the data backs up and proves our claims, from the front side alignment to the back side alignment, which later in the video I'll go into more detail about. So with that being said, we saw the 8.2 earthquake in Alaska as warned. We usually always get at least one 8 point during the front side alignment. But there are other things going on that us watchers are noticing right now. Big things, and I'd like to point them out. Not only is the sun reacting to the binary system in front side alignment per usual, but the Earth's axis, tilt, and wobble data is off the charts too. I have John in charge of the Earth axis, tilt, wobble data for this video, and he worked very hard on this. Thank you, John. Real quick, just want to show you where you can follow him. All of the people I talk about will be linked below, and credits are going to be at the end of the video. Okay, so anyways, get ready because the data we are seeing is really unbelievable. Earth's axis tilt chart. Okay. Highlighted is Earth's tilt and wobble for 2021 in brown, and 2020 is highlighted in the red. This year we are closer to the magnetic influence of the brown dwarf than any year prior. This is making the strength of the magnetic push on Earth's south pole greater than any other year prior. In turn, it's causing the North Pole to pull forward farther and faster in its drift and the wobble than any other year prior also. So the chart shows Earth breaking further away from the zero-axis wobble center on the chart. Earth's wobble has also broken through every year's path and accelerated faster than any year prior. So on May 14th, Earth was 2 weeks ahead of schedule this year. On July 1st, Earth was 4 weeks ahead of schedule. By July 14th, Earth was 5.5 weeks ahead of schedule. But on July 29th, Earth has slowed down a bit and is now back to only 2 weeks ahead of schedule again. This would correlate with the 20% increase in the speed of the North Pole's migration that began over 4 months ago. Okay, so Pole Shift News, Gene from Maverickstar Reloaded, he has the data, and over the last few months, there's been an increase anywhere from 18 to 20%. Okay, so this is also connected to the increase in the speed of Earth's rotation that mainstream media has been reporting. Also connected is the disclosure from mainstream media that Earth's axis has shifted. This is all directly connected to Earth's failing magnetic field, ongoing pole shift, and the incoming binary solar system. This is what is behind the unprecedented jet stream chaos, growing severe weather extremes, remarkable cloud formations, and odd sky phenomena we have been seeing rapidly increase over the past 4.5 months. And it's really starting to ramp up right now. Now, the little black arrows indicate the position of where it was the years prior on June 22nd. The reason the arrows are on the graph is so we can see the difference in wobble from year to year, as well as whether the timing on that same day each year forms a straight line to the center, rising and setting at the same place each year, or if the timing of them is ahead and behind or behind each other, so that would be rising and setting in a different place each year. Also from the Paris Observatory, 2020 and 2021 saw the greatest length of day decrease in milliseconds, which means Earth's rotation is speeding up. Even though it's in milliseconds, it's the most extreme deviation ever recorded. We knew this would occur also. But the axis tilt and wobble is just one of the things off the charts. We also see that the jet stream data and charts are unprecedented. Now, Gene from Maverickstar Reloaded has been monitoring this certain data for a very long time, and he also says the same thing that we are saying. He says, "In my entire life, I have never witnessed such events," as he talks about the jet stream.
What we're witnessing over the southern hemisphere is an unprecedented event. The jet stream is over several thousand miles wide, travelling at 183 kilometres an hour. In my entire life, I have never witnessed such events. I said we were going to arrive at a point in time where these obstacles are going to come all together, and we at that point are inevitably going to struggle to get through that. We're there now. We're at that point now. 7,000 mile wide jet streams. I've never seen anything in my entire scientific career as that, what we are witnessing right now.
A meteorologist friend of John's also said the same thing, agreeing with what we were seeing. He said he has been watching this and is utterly speechless, going as far as to say, all the years I've done weather, there has been an order and consistency to forecasting. Strange as it sounds, jet streams have been dependable over the years. This, however, is utter chaos. Those are the exact words we've been using. This is utter chaos. And then stated, I'm honestly afraid to even speculate as to what will become of this across the entire planet. You can take decades of knowledge in meteorology and just toss it out the window because this map you're looking at defies all logic and normalcy. Yes, friends, that is what we are about to witness. Utter chaos. Things that can't be explained by just a freak incident anymore. Plus, even worse than that. It seems that this is the year people are really starting to wake up. Now, the Earth's axis, tilt, and wobble and jet stream has so much to do with what we are seeing happening with the storms, major floods and fires, extreme heat and cold, extreme wind events, etc. And as you can see, they are both off the charts and unprecedented right now. Both of them. Keep that in mind. Okay, now I want to go into some more detail on the binary brown dwarf system, which is separate from Planet X. It's not the same thing, two totally different things. But I'd like you to all get a better understanding or idea of these alignments that we always talk about. Okay, so Mark Elkin has some great information on the front side and back side alignment, and I'll be using a couple of his pictures to show you kind of where the system sits during both alignments. Note that these are just a rough estimate, but it gives you an idea. And also note that even if it shows it is perfectly aligned with the Earth and the Sun, it isn't. It sits lower to the south under the ecliptic. So it's coming up towards us from the south under the ecliptic. Each year it gets closer to us coming up from down below, but that's also why you can't see it behind the sun, and why Planet X is something totally different than the Nemesis binary system. This system has its own planets, and its outermost planet is known mostly by the name Nibiru, which passed by Earth and the ancients long ago. There are many different records of this. And no, Nibiru does not hit the Earth. That is misinformation put out to discredit the truth. But yes, it has a lot of debris and its own debris field and asteroid belt like ours. That's why we're seeing more NEOs, near-Earth objects, and more asteroids and more fireballs. And yes, the system will be close enough that it causes massive chaos on Earth. Every year, everything is stronger, more intense, and more severe, as you've noticed. And they blame it on climate change. Even the moon's wobble is more severe, just like the Earth's is becoming more severe. They say that the moon's wobble will cause massive flooding. But really, that's because of the binary system. If it was just man-made climate change, it wouldn't impact the moon, the sun, or the planets. Nope. That's all being caused by the binary system. Okay, so Mark talked about the alignments in more detail, and you can find it all here and here. We have two alignments each year. Our backside alignment is when Earth, Sun, brown dwarf is aligned. So in that order, Earth, Sun, brown dwarf, like this photo shows. But remember, the system is under the ecliptic to the south. Now our front side alignment is Sun, Earth, brown dwarf. These two periods of the year are when we see significant upticks in seismic and volcanic activity. However, our front side alignment, due to the brown dwarf star being closer to Earth, is always worse. The interplanetary charged particle exchange is at its highest. That means our magnetosphere gets bombarded with cosmic radiation, and a second solar wind causes eddy formations in the magnetotail, magnetopause data. In turn, due to our magnetic field being directly connected to Earth's core expansion occurs. Plasma reactions and magma expansion, core flow changes, etc. The backside alignment is when the interplanetary charged particle exchange increases and the second solar wind comes up from under the ecliptic in waves of energy as the spiral formation forms the waves. The backside alignment affects our magnetosphere electromagnetically, causes the atmospheric compressions as the charged particles get pulled in at our poles. Now, due to the core being directly connected to Earth's magnetic field, the plasma reactions also occur within the core, which creates pressure under our tectonic plates. This leads to warmer sea temperatures due to the methane release and core expansion, and also earthquakes, landslides, sinkholes, etc. As the particles hit Earth's magnetosphere, pulled in at the poles, they then spread through the ionosphere, which in turn creates ionospheric heating, aka ionospheric charging, and warmer seawaters. These factors add to the stratospheric heating, which is caused by the increased cosmic radiation and sudden uplifts of the hotter air from the jet streams. Now, our front side alignment, which we are in right now, when we pass it every year, our south pole has a magnetic battle. Magnetic repulsion takes place to try and repel the magnetic influence. This in turn creates a disruption in the axis tilt wobble as we pass. Now, we saw that data earlier in the video, and it was much stronger this year during this front side alignment. That data was utter chaos. Once passed and out of the magnetic influence portal connection, the sun regains the magnetic strength and Earth's poles try to correct itself gradually, but gradually every year it worsens. The brown dwarf is what's causing all the geological changes on Earth for the last 20 to 30 years, and it's the culprit for the increase every year as it draws closer. With Nibiru, sometimes it's on the opposite side of the brown dwarf as we pass, yet the brown dwarf is a tad closer on its perihelion or approach or orbit. If Nibiru is on the opposite side of the nemesis as we pass, then the magnetic influence is a little less. Now, if it's Earth's side, so on this side, if it's Earth's side as we pass, then our south pole reacts in sporadic movements. That's what we've been documenting for the last so many years. Many years. Also, the more cosmic radiation, the more our magnetosphere depletes. Our shield is weakening. That's very bad also. The more our axis tilt wobble is influenced, the more our atmospheric pressure change, and the more our jet streams intermix. The more radiation, the more core expansion, the more warmer sea temperatures, the more weather anomalies. It's all connected. We are seeing major cosmic radiation from this brown dwarf system. Now remember that every year it's closer to us, and that's why every year seems to be a little bit more intense. So the front side alignment will continue, and we need to watch it August and September being the last of the core expansion phase. The backside alignment is usually the very end into the very beginning of the year, and like stated before, is a little less severe than the front side alignment. Now keep in mind all the times I've talked about the magnetism aspect. Okay, so the magnetism, how we kind of talked about that a minute ago, but the magnetism, this could be why many of you are feeling odd or weird or off, even crazy at times. Magnetism can drive one mad and do some pretty wild things to a person. Even dreaming. I bet a lot of you are having some more wild and more intense and even more realistic dreams, being out of the ordinary from what your usual dream patterns are. I bet many of you are noticing these changes, ringing in the ears or hearing loss in the ears, feeling wobbly and dizzy, tingly in the skin, etc. Note these changes in your body because how your body feels, you yourself can track the data through how your body feels. So keep that in mind. And remember, we have been seeing an 18 to 20% increase in the magnetic north movement here within the last few months also. It's rapidly heading for the 40-degree mark and weakest field lines. That's where major Earth changes are coming also. So we're seeing major changes with the magnetic north pole migration, the jet streams, Earth's axis tilt wobble, and so on and so forth. Also, last week I reported that the U.S. National Weather Service is activating a new wireless emergency alert for smartphones. We have talked about how they would have to put new warnings, measures, and policies in place, such as a new alert system. Even Mike from around the world has said the same. Well, here it is, another step in that direction. Thunderstorms that are deemed destructive will trigger a new wireless emergency alert to be sent out to the impacted areas. These will look like this and be similar to the alerts sent out for flash flood warnings and tornado warnings. New measures will need to be put in place. That was a big one, and I think that will continue. They will still put new measures in place even after this. We also warned about the lightning, wind, and the hail, together becoming more destructive and severe. Now, this is from the National Weather Service. The criteria for a destructive damage threat is at least 2.75-inch diameter baseball-sized hail and or 80-mile-per-hour thunderstorm winds. Warnings with this tag will automatically activate a wireless emergency alert on smartphones within the warned area, which these kind of storms are much more common now. Remember that. Remember we said more intense lightning, even in places that's more rare? Well, scientists are stunned by rare active lightning storms north of Alaska. Another warning we were watching for. Man, scientists will sure be stunned here soon when everything starts happening at once. How many stories can they make up to keep covering things up? Soon they won't be able to cover anything up. It'll be way too noticeable to the public. Another warning was for flooding and high winds. They are starting to take note, and of course they are blaming it on man-made climate change, but the data fits our alignments to a T. Some headlines read, China warns of more floods, extreme weather after weeks of chaos. Climate change, which really means from the binary system, is driving extreme floods, wildfires, and heat. Will the world meet the moment? What's with all the extreme weather? Climate crisis turns world subways into flood zones. Extreme weather is sweeping the world with devastating floods and wildfires on 3 continents at once. Historic floods fuel misery and rage in Detroit. Enormous scale of destruction is revealed as water subsides after historic Western Europe flooding. Severe storms in the Midwest could produce hurricane-force winds. And the extreme heat and extreme cold with the tilt and wobble and jet stream issues. That's big time also. Rare excessive heat warning issued for coastal counties near Savannah. Denver smashes 145-year record high. More record-shattering heat waves are on the way. Get ready for many more record-shattering heat waves. Cold wave brings snow to several Brazilian cities. At least 19 low-temp records broken in 24 hours. And then from Scott Duncan, it is extremely hot in northern Japan right now. 34 weather stations out of 173 observed new all-time heat records. And intense Arctic cold is racing through South America right now. Widespread frost with some snow observed all the way into southern Brazil. Coffee prices are surging as the cold threatens production. This is the biggest and most intense this winter for sure, getting down 10 to 15 Celsius, colder than average at times. So 10 Celsius is 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and 15 Celsius is 59 degrees Fahrenheit. So anywhere to 59 degrees colder than average. And the droughts are something we also mentioned. Minnesota's worst drought in decade to likely impact produce and gas prices. Drought worst in history hits Summit County ranchers. Washington drought continues to worsen as more wildfires spark. Lake Mead, largest U.S. reservoir, falls to historic low amid devastating drought. Historic drought in the West is forcing ranchers to take painful measures. And just posted within the last week about the drought, California could cut off water from thousands of farmers in historic drought. So like Mike from Around the World mentioned, just wait until they cut the power off to them as well. Okay, historic heat wave, extreme drought, and wildfires plague North American West. Now those are some of the headlines that are out right now. Also note this, another good couple of people to follow right here. Faith says, we're forecasted to reach full solar maximum by 2025. That's not going to be the case. The binary system will fasten that process. I expect full solar maximum by late 2022, if not 2023. There's that 2023 again. That's the big year that we have down, 2023. The sun is being affected by the heavy electromagnetic currents of this incoming heavenly body. Twice we've had Class X flares. I couldn't agree more. Follow both of them as well. Anyways, I've added so much to this video and it's already really long, so I'll have to stop now. This should give you a pretty good idea, though, of what we are seeing take place right now. We are heavily documenting these earth-changing events. A pretty awesome group of people out here watching. We hope to continue to be able to keep you updated, and I hope that they don't shut us down from being able to warn you all. Just note, the next few years are going to be wild, so hang on to your hats and buckle up. Thank you again to those collaborating with me on this one, and to those here who are watching and sharing the information with others. Y'all have a great day.